everyone, and welcome to this week's Tuesdays with Tina. And I have to say that this week is a special Tuesdays with Tina. As you can see, I'm not officially live. I'm recording this because I have two phenomenal, amazing hygiene buddies of mine who are specialists of the topic that we're talking about today, which is infection control and how we can marry that with our anesthesia. So we have the wonderful, fabulous roaming dental hygienist, Michelle Strange, owner of Infection Prevention. Did I say that right? Level Up Infection Prevention. Oh, golly gee. Well, we know it. We're here real humans when we make these kinds of flubs. But did I say that right, Michelle?
Level Up. Yep.
Level Up. And then we also have Amanda Hill, the amazing spreader of kindness and our fierce Waterline warrior. No cape today, though I don't think so, Amanda. Right? Okay.
No cape today. Sorry.
No cape today.
The cape is hanging in the closet.
That's okay. That's totally all right. And I think that we all three of us are part of the Health Tracker Ring Club, right?
We are.
Yeah.
We are all in the Aura Ring family.
Aura Ring family. Yes. I love it. I love it. And we could go down that pathway, and we have so many things that we could talk about. But I wanted to bring you guys on here today because, as I'm going through and I'm working with hygienists across the nation on certifying them for anesthesia, one of the things that I see on a regular basis and have to have conversations about is the cross-contamination that can happen with syringe handling, especially with sharps containers. And I wanted to bring you guys on to share your knowledge and expertise and maybe some protocols that we should be thinking about with that. So, Michelle, I'm going to pick on you first. Do you have some thoughts on this?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with the protocols and processes. Like, we had a little off, camera conversation, and I kind of got to the place where I was like, you could really kind of make it whatever you want it to be. And I do think that that's super important in any dental practice, is allowing everybody have a little autonomy. Like I talk about this with patients. We want to make sure everybody has autonomy. One of the things they say in motivational interviewing is if you don't give them the freedom, they're only going to be left with the freedom to say no. And so making sure that everybody has the ability to come up with protocols, and that the team is coming up with the protocols. It isn't just like top down, like we don't touch things, we only do it this way, we're only using this type of safety feature on our recapping devices, whatever it is. Like, make sure the team is coming up with this, the team has autonomy, you come up with the best protocols, you practice the protocols, and then that everybody is coming together in a safety culture, which Amanda and I talk about this a lot, the safety culture that everybody kindly says, oh, hey, do you know that you just touched the outside of that with, dirty hands, and we're calling that clean, or we're going to call this whole thing dirty. So the moment it's touched, those gloves are dirty, or whatever it is, I think it's super important to have those protocols, to practice those protocols, to have autonomy of the team so that they can come up with those protocols. And I think from there, everything in infection control can be done well if you have those things in place.
Amanda, what are your thoughts with, I'm sure you were shaking your head a lot with what Michelle was saying. Yeah.
Yes. Well, Michelle and I really like to nerd out about these things. These are weird conversations. If you ever said, what are the topic? What do you guys talk about? Yeah, we talk about nerdy things like this. I'm 100% with Michelle on that. There isn't only one way. There's only one way to do anything, right? In what we do, right? And so, but what works for you and your practice, and does everybody understand the way? We could be like all Mandalorian, like this is the way, right?
Yes, I love it.
Right?
I love the Star Wars reference. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
But even like I pictured in my head while Michelle was talking, I pictured this, I don't know, I have this crazy visual mind. I pictured this idea of either like electrical tape or even stickers, where something's like you put a green sticker or a red sticker on things, where it's like this visual that says, so on your sharps container, you have a red, a red line. I know it's already red, but you have a red electrical tape on it that says, hey guys, this is the visual reminder to say, this is dirty. So when I touch this, my hands are dirty. Or if it's green, which it could be green, that you have you have then, you drop it in hands-free. Many of them, you can do it without touching it, right? But that you're saying the container itself is in fact green, clean. So we only touch it with clean hands. I really love Glow Germ. Glow Germ is one of my favorite things to play with, and you can buy it on Amazon. So there's Glow Germ powder and there's Glow Germ lotion. And what this is either you can sprinkle it on, or you can like lather up your hands with this, like, I don't even know what it is, but anyway, and then you can like practice. Do you know what it is, Michelle? Do you know what to call it? I don't even know. Okay.
No.
So
Is
then
it
you
like,
can
is it kind of
practice.
like, is it kind of like that, with like CSI moment when they're going
Exactly,
into the
totally CSI
hotel
moment.
room and looking at
And then you bring in your UV flashlight, like your purple, like disco party flashlight. And then you can see like all the things that you touch. And this is actually a really fun kind of way to sort of audit yourself, or maybe have a team audit. And so that would be one way to be like, okay, guys, let's not even decide what's clean and dirty, like for a minute. Let's practice how we would see the patient. And then let's go through with our UV flashlight and look at all the stuff we touched. And now we know what we need to call dirty.
No, what would be really fun with that, and we're kind of going off anesthesia for a second, but I just had this visual of having that as an in-office training, and each person gets their own color, right? So Amanda, like, you're green, Michelle, you'd be purple, I could be pink or something like that. And so like, oh, Tina touched this, Michelle touched that, Amanda touched this. I mean, I think that, I don't know if the science allows for that, but I think that would be really cool.
I even have a slide in one of my presentations where I put Glow Germ lotion on the outside of my gloves, because once you doff your gloves, you wash your hands. Why do you wash your hands? Well, first off, nobody is that good at taking off their gloves without accidentally slightly contaminating their hands. But I have this great picture of, you can see the dots from the micropores in the gloves.
Ew.
And how the Glow Germ goes through the gloves. So that thing that we pretend like the glove is a force field, and then we pretend like then we can touch things without washing our hands. Not so much.
Ew, yuck.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go back to something you said about the type of container. And there are so many different types of sharps containers. And there's a lot of different ways that they can be presented into the operatory, which I think everybody needs to remember that every operatory needs to have its own sharps containers. We're not walking down the hallway, right? So I just want to throw that out there, everyone. If you don't have a sharps container in the operatory, get into your distributor's catalog and order one, please do that. But there's some that you can mount on the wall, which make it super easy to know, like you just drop it in. But then there's some where like it has like this, it's like a little garbage can where you have the lid that you set the sharps in and you dump it.
It's like the book return at the library.
Yeah, the book return kind of a thing. And that one is like, there's no way that you can't touch it.
No, that one's dirty.
Right. And I think
I would call that dirty.
Yeah. So like, no matter what it is that you're doing, like, so I just wanted to piggyback on like your container really will dictate your protocols.
Absolutely.
And then if you buy a different style of container, you might have to change your protocols.
Good point.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And that's the thing about standard operating procedures and protocols. They are a living document. The moment you change chemicals, the next thing, if you change your safety devices that you use, if you change the sharps container, like you should rewrite these things. Like they should be a living document of current practices and protocols in your unique dental practice.
Yeah, because we know everybody's looking for the best deal, right? And so it's amazing how many times that stuff switches. Yeah. Especially in like anesthetics, like people are like, oh, I'm going to buy that formulation or that formulation. Well, they're kind of standardized, but you still have to look at some of those finer details.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I know I've done the research on this, but I'm just curious, to wipe or not to wipe anesthetic cartridges if you haven't used them, but they've been out on the tray.
I was taught not to wipe and to dispose of. So you take out what you need, and then you have hopefully a runner or a rover of some sort to give you more as needed. I mean, I thought it was like across the board a no-go, but please educate me if I have
I will,
wrong.
Amanda.
Well, I'm thinking back to my dental assisting days. I'm thinking that I wiped a lot of carts and put them back in the
we can
drawer.
talk about what I've done wrong.
Yeah,
that's totally what just flashed through my mind. Because when you said it, I was like, oh, I think I know the right answer, but I can tell you how many times that is not what I did.
Right. So
that costs money. And
it does. Anesthetic's expensive. Anesthetic is expensive. Well, I will say that our normal sanitizing solutions that we use, the wipes, the sprays, will corrode the metal cap and also cause problems to the rubber stopper. So no longer is that a safe anesthetic and it's lost its integrity. So take out what you need. If you need more, make sure you have an aseptic way, whichever your aseptic protocols are, to get it. But I will say this, pre-surgery, and this is in regular medicine, general medicine, and in oral surgery, oftentimes an anesthetic cartridge will be wiped down with an isopropyl alcohol prior to use.
Right.
So that everything is as clean as it can be prior to. So, but that doesn't mean that isopropyl alcohol is going to clear off whatever was on the tray with all the cross contamination. Because I could see people following up with that. What don't you think?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, can I ask a question?
In that diaphragm.
Oh
yeah. Amanda, ask away.
Once the carp is empty, where does that glass carpule go?
Well, it has the potential to shatter. So stick it in the sharps container.
Watch out. This is crazy town because I learned this. So I think it's South Carolina. Michelle, you were South Carolina, weren't you? It could be North Carolina. Maybe I'm getting my Carolinas mixed up. It is against your medical waste regulations to put a carp into your sharps container.
Even though it's quote unquote empty?
It quote unquote empty. So unless there's blood in it, unless you've got blood in it that you can see, it should not go into, if it's not broken, it should not go into your sharps container. So through lecturing, and Michelle, I'd be curious to hear what you have been like, what conversations you've had around this. I have a lot of offices that will put them in like an old wipes container or in an old like laundry, like Tide, just so that, because that way then they can put it in the trash and they don't risk it breaking in the trash. And you think about it, like depending on your local regulated waste rules, it's going to depend. But man, that takes up less space in your sharps container. In your sharps container, you don't have to send it off as often.
Yeah.
So I actually think it's worth investigating for your local authority to figure out what the rule is. So yeah, I didn't know that. Karen Gregory taught me that. That's the case where she's been lecturing.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to add that to what I've learned, and I'm going to have to incorporate that into my anesthesia lectures. Thank you. Okay. So checking.
What about you? What have you heard, Michelle, around that?
To be honest, I try to stay out of lecturing about waste because
waste is hard. I know.
Because every state and local is so different. I mean, you can kind of give like here's regulated waste, here's unregulated, here's medical, like that is like the bucket. But I'm like, go to your state and local guidance because it is all over the board. I don't even try to keep up, but I really do like the idea of like an old disinfection bucket, like with a lid and everything, and you can kind of tape the lid down and toss it out. And it does save on the many times that you have to then get rid of your sharps container. And, even from that perspective, I mean, I'm sure we have all seen how many ways you can get rid of your sharps. I've worked in an office where you mix the two liquids and it became like concrete. And then, but you only had to weigh it first. And like, if it got over 50 pounds, then you couldn't do it. Like, it was wild. And then I've worked in an office that sterilized the entire sharps container, and then that became sterile, and then they put something on the top of it and it locked the lid down, and then that got disposed of. I have literally seen it all. And this is also a great point that Legacy errors is something that we talk a lot about, and not making the assumption that what you have always done is the right way. And that if you go to another office or things change or you go, like, you have to be able to pivot and self-audit because things could change. And from a very expensive regulatory kind of way, it
Yeah.
might come back and get you. So you got to really
Yeah.
check that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This, I have to say, I think this might be one of my favorite Tuesdays with Tina ever, probably because I got to hand it over to the experts. I have to say, I love it. I love it so much. Michelle and Amanda, thank you so much for taking some time out for this quick review of Tuesdays with Tina. These are my takeaways. Figure out what your protocols are for your office. Realize that they will change depending upon what kind of container you have and what your regulatory systems are. Just like with our Practice Act, check your Practice Act, check your waste regulatory systems. And remember that alcohol before use on your anesthetic cartridge is okay, not after. And let's not use it at all, those sanitary wipes on any of our anesthetic cartridges. Did I miss a recap item, ladies? Did I miss anything?
No, I think that was great.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So, friends, make sure you go and check out the Amanda Hill Spreader of Kindness and the Waterline Warrior on Instagram. Anywhere else, Amanda?
Facebook, all the
Facebook,
places.
all the places.
Amanda Hill RDH. Everywhere
Amanda
you
Hill
go.
RDH. All right. And then Michelle Strange, the roaming hygienist and level up infection prevention. Anywhere else, Michelle? Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the things.
LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of it. Yeah.
All of it.
YouTube.
Awesome.
All of it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, friends. Thank you so much. Now make sure that you save this and share it because you're going to find this information valuable to come back and revisit. And we might have to do it again in another year or so because I'm sure things will have changed between then because we don't want to fall into a legacy mistake, friends. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.